I'm Katie Osuna, and I'm the host of Copper and Heat Radio, a 2-time James Beard Award-winning podcast about the forces that shape our meals. I started this podcast back in 2019 when I was working in Michelin-starred restaurants and noticing all of these social interactions around me. I had a lot of questions about the culture of restaurants and the systems we operated in.
I think the restaurant world's in for a reckoning.
Restaurants are slow to change because everything's made on the smallest margins.
Value is completely arbitrary, right?
What began as a podcast to process my way through working in kitchens as a woman has grown.
If the conversation is a crackdown on the border, then do you want a $30 burger? Because that's one of the consequences of this.
There's just a certain financial reality to making certain businesses exist. And there's a reason that delivery didn't exist in a lot of markets for a lot of years. And it's because it's incredibly low margin.
How a cuisine climbs in prestige and value. This happened to Japanese cuisine, this happened to Italian cuisine right in front of our eyes.
Listen wherever you get your podcasts. And now on Heritage Radio Network.
Today's program is brought to you by Korin, a supplier of Japanese chef knives and restaurant supplies. For more information, visit korin.com.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
Welcome to the Grape Nation, your weekly wine journey. Our guests are Stella and Beatrice Di Campalto. Buon tempo. Both. I'll explain. We'll talk to Stella and Beatrice about their wines, philosophy, and more. We'll taste one of Stella's wines for our weekly wine sip. I'm your host, Sam Ben-Ruby. Stay with us for the Grape Nation on the Heritage Radio Network. We bring wine to the people. In 1992, Stella Di Campalto received a parcel of rugged abandoned farmland for her wedding, located or the vineyard is San Giuseppe near Montalcino, Tuscany. You'll explain to me all of that. Stella, a fiercely independent soul with no wine experience, went on to start her own eponymous winery. She has created a manifesto of diversities, quotes Immanuel Kant, and was an early adopter of biodynamic farming in the region. Along with her daughter, Beatrice, they follow their own path and make the most sought-after Brunello and Rosso di Montalcinos anywhere. Welcome to the Grape Nation, Stella and Beatrice.
Thank you.
We're talking to Stella and Beatrice in New York, where they are in town because they'll be pouring their wines at the Convivio del Vino, an Italian wine festival, and this is the inaugural one. This is the first.
Yes.
And it's the guys, it's Daniel Johns and Raj Vaidya and all those guys that do La Fée, La Paule. So I was talking to Beatrice earlier. You guys don't get to New York that much.
Last time was 7 years ago.
Oh, for you?
Yeah, and for you?
Right. She's been wandering around the galleries.
Yes.
So why did you decide to come in for Convivio? Was there something, was it the right time? Was it Convivio?
Yes, was for Jeff. And I have really strong stop to come here for many reasons. We are in May, so it's a very delicate period.
Right.
But at the end, I decided to come as Beatrice is a great, great representative of the farm. I decided to come. I have a fight with myself because I'm used to the tree now.
Really?
Yeah. So to come here was a little bit like
you finally got to the point where
Yes.
you're comfortable.
Yes, exactly. So I came in a comfortable zone and I just surrendered to this. And surrender is something that the vineyards teach me all the time.
Well, we're going to talk about that. Now, Beatrice, a little different for you, right? You get lit up a little more when you come here. You look forward to coming here, right?
Yes, I like it. It's always nice to see a city. I mean, I love to be in Montalcino, and I also like the countryside, horse riding, the dogs. I love it. But just sometimes I need also something different, look for art, and like go away in a sense from the wine and see from far away.
Now, Stella, to your point, you haven't been here for years, and you're pretty much part of the trees. In Italy, do you either go into Rome or Florence, or you're really, I mean, when you can, or you're really reclusive?
Yeah. For me, it's essential to go around.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the city.
Just far travel is further.
Yes. But it's strange because when I was a childhood, I used to come for months in New York, Long Island. So it's something I'm used to. But
how long ago was that?
I was 10 years ago, 10 years old. So it was many years ago.
On the east end of Long Island, the Hamptons, or
Southampton.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes, very
so
nice.
So you know what's going on there.
Yeah.
All right. So I would love the two of you collectively to tell me the story of the winery of Stella Di Campalto. I want you to try to talk about the family. I want you to talk to me about this wedding gift thing, which I think is kind of an interesting jumping point. I want you to talk to me about the evolution of the winery from that day. Somebody said, hey, here's your wedding gift. What happened from then to now? That's, a big part of the story. I want to know, Beatrice, when you came in, I'm curious what you were doing before. I'm curious how much your arm had to be twisted or if this was something you were looking for. So, Stella, I'll start with you. We're going to use 1997 as a jumping point.
Or night, yeah.
But I want to go backwards a little.
Yes.
What were you doing in your life before, this winery thing was kind of dropped on you?
So I'm used to do the most difficult work in the world. I was a mother.
Okay.
To
that is
small girl.
No argument here.
Right. And I born in Milano, grown up in Rome. And then before I decide to come for a week in Montalcino, I was living in Milano. So my idea was to move to this abandoned land just a week.
Was the land in the family?
Or? Was, as you say, his Beatrice grandfather gift when I get married.
Okay.
And my first love was picking the olives from olive tree. Once a year.
There were olive trees on the property then, right?
The property, yes, because this property was abandoned from the Second World War. And I used to go from Milano and my mother from Rome. We meet there, we pick up the olives and we press and we do this gold liquid with extra virgin olive oil. And then we go back to our home.
So you would pick and press? You had a little whatever press or stones?
It was stone press at the time. It was in the town next to us.
Oh, okay. You would bring the olives.
And they treat me very badly, all these Tuscan men.
Well, I'm going to talk to you about that. Because a woman in wine in the 90s, I'm guessing, is not the easiest thing, but we'll get to that. All right. So the property was there. Childhood.
Abandoned. No vineyards, just olive tree.
Right. And pretty rugged, like I mentioned.
Absolutely. All the animals were there.
So you get married in 99.
92, yeah.
You get married in 92. In 99,
I planned the vineyards, but it was very challenging. I was in Milano reading a feminine newspaper called Donna Moderna, Modern Woman. And they are talking about European community. So I called my aunt, she's a psychist, crazy part of our family.
Okay.
And she said, I don't know anything about European community, because at the time there was not European community.
Right.
And she said, but we can go together to the Provincia di Siena, this office. And I present my label that I own the property to see if they give me some money or anything. And they give to just 3 farms, was Antinori, Frescobaldi, and me. So out of the bloom. And they give me the chance to plant the vineyards and the money.
So did other people apply and were turned down, or just...
Probably they applied,
Okay.
many people.
You're in good
but,
company.
Yeah, quite big
I mean,
company.
Niposana has a medieval castle on it,
Right.
I think, right?
Right. So everybody say, who is this property belongs to? What
Right.
does it mean? So, and...
Did they know outright you were a woman, or they knew it was a person?
No, I think...
They knew.
As a name, yes.
Okay. So this is what year again?
Was in 95.
Okay. So you're kind of, or you're approved to go ahead and...
So my idea was to plant it and run away, just stay 1 month in Montalcino. There was no houses. So again, my crazy grandmother knocked to the door of Franco Biondisanti and appeared this tall, beautiful, blue-eyed man. And my mother fell in love. He absolutely was married at the time. And whatever he say, she say yes. So he say, I have a house. And she say, yes, we take it. I say, Mama, we even doesn't see the house. So she put the signature. She helped me, of course, because I was really... And we come to this house with a mattress made with the hair of horse, with no heating system, no washing machine. I was coming from Milano.
Right. A cosmopolitan city.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to stay just 1 week here. It was really challenging, this house.
I can imagine.
It was like the 50.
But you were looking at it like you weren't going to be there year round anyway.
Yeah, just 1 week. I don't want to stay more.
But you get there, you kind of stumble into this house. And as I mentioned, you have no experience in wine and farming.
At country as well. I mean,
so
I came there
did it
with...
dawn on you, like, where should I start? What do I do? So how do you get this thing started?
So there was all the rules to plant it. So I tried to follow these rules. And I go to this house with 2 girls, 3 and 6. And so I...
Who's the 6-year-old, you or your sister?
Me. My sister,
You're the
she's
oldest.
Younger.
Do you remember any of this? Like,
Yeah,
do you remember being
actually-
dragged, like, to this property and all that?
No, I have like fuzzy memory about Milan and my best friend in Milan, yes. And then I have very clear memory about Montalcino, and I remember as the happiest period of my life, especially when we were in that house.
Yes, it's incredible. For the first time we stay together.
Yeah.
The house that we're talking about?
Yeah, it was
So
incredible.
obviously you fixed it up, or...
Yeah, because
No.
his father...
It was like this.
It was like this for 3 years,
It
the
was.
best years of our life.
Yeah.
Yes.
down and dirty.
Just no television. We just read the book in front of the fireplace.
We are so far away from that today.
But open a door and they can be free. After many years, they cannot. So it was the best 3 years of our life in this house. So I thanks to my mother, I thanks to Franco Biondisanti to allow that.
So what happens? How do things get started? You're reading about this, you're out there. I mean, don't you have to hire some people to help you? I mean, are you doing this yourself?
So I go
Do you know what to plant? I mean, I don't even know where to start as far as
So
questions.
few producer was there at the time. We are talking about 20 producer in Montalcino. Now there are 270.
Now, Beyond Descente was how far from where you're...
Very close, we can walk
Okay.
to. It was so generous, so nice, invite us for Christmas time. It was a very
And they're
nice
considered,
person.
if not the oldest Brunello, right?
Yeah.
Biondi?
Yeah.
So pretty good neighbors.
Yes, pretty good.
All right, so tell me how you get things started.
So I of course, I don't know anything. I was completely alcohol free. So I don't know anything. And I asked to another producer called Ciacci Piccolomini to do the work of the soil. And just shaking the hands, we found the solution. It's going to break the soil and to plant the vineyards. So it was very kind and nice.
Was he a winemaker?
He's a Ciacci Piccolomini is still here.
Yeah.
Very good, big farm.
Right.
And he was the owner, and he loves. He was tall like that, and he loves to be on the caterpillar, high like the sky. So he was a small man, but he loves the big machine. So he break the salt. I have to tell you back that he break like the time was natural to do it, making it the disaster with the power of the big machine, So he planted the vineyards, but
so was that a mistake on his part, or
it was the time they do. Everybody do the same way.
Yeah,
It's not
you wouldn't
him.
choose to do
I don't
that.
know anything.
Yeah, right. You know now, which is interesting. So then it didn't make sense.
It was normal to do like that.
Right. Just as people sprayed in other places or whatever. You figure it out.
Yes.
So he helps you break the land. You start planting vineyards.
And I start to read book. I have an uncle, the fiancé of the psychist, which was a strange winemaker. So Roberto. And he gave me so many books because I don't know what is a wine. So my only attention for many years was about the plants and the soil, because I don't care about wine.
But you got that right, because that's the foundation, and we'll tie that all together. But thank God that's. At any point, are you having regrets? Like, what am I doing here? Or I'm too
Absolutely,
deep into
yes.
this? Or
Absolutely.
is this hard to learn?
Sometime I have to go to the railway station of Rome to see people. Just stop there and watching the people going around, because there was no people where I was.
I was just thinking that, like, were there people to drive and talk to? I mean, it was not as crowded then as now, as you mentioned, the amount of wineries.
You can go to the bar and find all the people.
It wasn't.
It's like a big house, Montalcino at the time. It was beautiful.
Which is a good thing.
Yes.
Did people embrace you?
Yes. They were very nice.
Did anyone lean over and say, "What are you doing? You're here alone. You have this property. You're going to make wine. It's not easy." Did anyone try to discourage you?
No, we take the hand together and we say together. They were very nice. Absolutely.
All right. So tell me how things progress. Tell me the evolution. As years go by, you're doing more things, you're reading more.
So I've got his father, which is a city man, very clever.
Okay.
And he told me, if you want to do the wine, you don't know anything about wine. Just take the best agronomist and the best winemaker. So I did for 8 months before, and then I work in other farms.
So they consulted for you.
Exactly.
Right.
One winemaker have also the helicopter. He came there by helicopter. I was like, wow. Donato Lanati. Enologist. Sorry.
Winemaker.
Right. She's more precise than me.
Right.
It's true. Enologist.
But no, you're right. It's more the study of it than the making of it.
Exactly.
You need that sort of foundation of knowledge to do all of that. You know what? The first thing I think of is, how do you afford that? I mean, wasn't there a cost involved? I mean, you were.
I got his father helped me, but the bank helped me.
Okay.
Monte dei Paschi di Siena was supporting. I do all. His father make a business plan, so they give me the chance to afford it.
Okay.
It was completely risky. Everything was risky. Yeah, on the other hand, I can sell the farm and go back to the city. This was risky.
Did you ever get close to thinking of that?
Yes.
Or no? You did?
Yes.
All right. So you're doing the right things. You're bringing the right consultants in. You're getting coached, consulted, and all that. So
it was very important because
following everyone's lead. Now,
the best of the best, no? So,
like, what year did you bring in like an enologist? And
was 2001 till 2002, 2000 till 2001, and they teach me to be precise, to write everything, to observe. We go in the vineyards, but their idea was an idea of perfection at the time.
What was the perfection? Just how you did everything in the field?
How a grapes should be. At the time, it should be square.
Right.
And first harvest, I was already organic. First harvest, I add all this dust. So a friend of Beatrice came, they were playing there, and say, ma il mio nonno tutte queste cose non ce le mette. My grandfather all this stuff doesn't put in the wine. I say, shut up. I'm with the best consultant ever. Shut up and go away. Play far away from me.
And we were like 7. Now we were very small, 6.
And the property was right there. I mean, you played
the first production after 3 years of waiting. But these sounds, my grandfather doesn't put all this stuff, continues to go on my head. And I say, I work so much organically, and then I put all this stuff in the wine. So there was something that doesn't fit my stomach.
Wait, clear that up for me. You were out in the field, you realize organic is the direction, perfection, do it, holistically, organically. But when you were making the wine, the
consultant told me to
you were doing it, whatever it was, acid, color, sulfur, anything.
Yeah.
Okay. And right away.
And before I studied in Bordeaux.
Right away, it didn't make sense to you,
I studied 1 month in Bordeaux. So I said, okay, but it's something that I will not eat this dust. I was starting to think as a consumer, not as a producer.
Right.
Thanks to Gemma.
So that was the turning point where you realized in making the wine, really kind of leave it alone.
I call the consultant and say, I want naturalist. And he doesn't answer back anymore to me.
You didn't want to hear that.
I call him, said, no way, we close it. Because I was not anymore the good student.
Is this guy still around?
He's very well known. Now I think he changed his mind. He have an incredible good taste and laboratory analysis. So it's very good. But we naturally split. And then I found out about biodynamics that opened completely all the doors.
So that's not a random thing. I mean, how did you find out? Was there somebody that had your ear, or because I know you were an early adopter to that, so it wasn't like everyone was doing it and you're like, that looks good, I'll do it. How does that come up? Your compass inside says, I want to be natural. And, the winemaking part explained that for sure. But how do you know? Like, how do you figure this stuff out? I'm just curious.
Yes, I go to a wine tasting in Rome. A friend of mine bring me, a producer, and blind wine tasting, and they let us try the wine. I was smelling because I was not really drinking still. And I found out one wine was just going independently. It was not closed in something. It was free. Alive, free. And I was shocked. And then these crazy producers start to talk in French, which I don't speak French, but when I go out, I say, I'm going to read Rudolf Steiner. I was completely, this is this.
And when you started studying Steiner,
reading,
it's pretty involved and crazy in a good way. It all made sense to you?
No, not at all.
Stuffing horns with manure and the moon cycle. I mean,
then he was more, talking about big things than practical things. So it was very good to sleep after 10 minutes. Steiner. I just read half of the page, I fall to sleep. So if you have insomnia, Steiner is great. But then he move yourself. Just to, there is direct words and there is indirect situation that make you like love, like whatever in our life.
So you implement biodynamics, you follow Steiner.
And I don't understand, as you say, about corn.
What year was that when you?
It was again 2001.
Okay. So a couple decades ago, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the path you're going to take.
But I was reading him about bees, about other things than wine, absolutely. But how to start? How to start?
That's important, right? You kind of needed that.
And another producer came to me and said, I met this agronomist, and he's on biodynamics. And I met this really, how do you say, antipatico?
How can I say? Not nice person.
An
Very,
asshole.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I said,
Bad guy.
okay, I like you, because my family, they're all like that. So it was, okay,
well,
welcome
no,
to...
I think somebody, you liked him.
Absolutely,
So it
yes.
was somebody that was a little edgy and sarcastic.
Exactly.
And contrarian.
A bit of a Grinch.
Right, but not off-putting.
No,
It's
no,
sort
no.
of like, this guy's different. I got it.
Right.
So
So he showed me practical how to do 500, how to give, to spray in the farm. So he opened this practical way of doing the things.
right, which you needed to connect.
Absolutely.
Here's the theory, here's the execution, right?
And I was on the way all the time. It was not that I understood the first year, it just on the way. It's a life work.
Well, that's what's boggling my mind. I mean, there's so much going on. You know, the story, the line is straight. It sounds a little simplistic. It's not. That's my point. I mean, there's so much stuff going on, but these are the things when you pull them out, you know, that you were doing. So the condition of the property as you were moving into dynamics, was it ever sprayed before, or was it left alone?
No, it was
in good
abandoned
shape?
from the Second World War, from the 40.
Right, so not much was going on. So that was good for you. So at that point, you're doing the biodynamics. You have vines in the ground? I mean, do they have 3, 4,
I already
5, 6 years
thanks
on them?
to 2002 was the 5 years, yeah. And the soil was like a highway, only cane grow. It was, as I told you, they make the break of the soil in a very violent way, only cane. Because the soil needs to breathe, so only allow the cane to grow.
Right.
So it was a slow change.
Right, you had to get all that going. All right, we're going to talk a little more about that in a couple of minutes. But there were a couple things, you know, when I was looking into you guys that caught my attention that was interesting to me. One of the things, and it seemed very logical but a little rebellious, was this manifesto of diversities. I want you to talk about that. To me, and correct me if I'm not getting it right or explaining it, but there's these organizations of denominations, DOG, DOCG, and all that, that kind of set the regulations for an area, for what they think is the better good. That's not what you thought. You thought, tell me, you reacted with, okay, that's what these guys are doing, but here's how I think about it. And you kind of, in your mind, put together this manifesto. Tell me a little about that.
So this limitation of the rules the DOCG give us to us is about 100% Sangiovese and a month of time before the wine can go out from the cellar, mainly.
So half of that works for you, the 100% Sangiovese.
And Sangiovese is like an Italian man, no? Very, very transparent of the place where he grew.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
The Italian men are like that?
They're terrible too. It's like the Sangiovese.
Exactly.
You never know where it's going.
Okay.
But you need in some way to follow.
Okay. All right. So 100% Sangiovese and an aging requirement.
So the manifesto you're talking about, I come together with these two producers very much. There was in this kind of naturality way.
You befriended because you had similar sensibilities.
Yes.
Okay.
So we found out we are under the same sky. And we make for 20 years in Italy together. And we show that as much as we are transparent of the year and human being, as much the wine are different, as much there is no competition. but just embrace each other.
So
we work on this manifesto, making geological research again, because I do before planting the vineyards, but I continue for 10 years, and was so beautiful because one is German, Piandelorino. I'm from Rome, and then the one Sicilian. So we are the Italian, really
That's
Italian.
a good mix-up.
Different point of view.
So in the end, what did you accomplish? You created or fulfilled a vision and direction that wasn't necessarily there or done right?
But it's more about work as much as we can good in the vineyards and then surrender to the result. I was crying in 2002 because I was the first that treat one line yes, one line no. It was raining every single day. So the risk was very high. And everybody cleaned perfectly the vineyards. I have all the grass. So I said, what I'm going to do? Because everything surround me was about perfection.
Right.
Was about result.
Right. Not
I was working in another.
Of course.
So I was shaking. I was not so sure about.
That was a wake-up call.
Pour a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you. Actually, you can empty the whole thing on my glass. What do you refer to something as zonation?
Zonation was fundamental. It's just a matter to know who we are. So we do. Zonation was mainly made by Jan Erbach. Right. And we makes a huge study with 2 geology to understand what is Montalcino.
Okay, on your website, you talk about the Manifesto of Diversities and Zonation. It's interesting because I know not a lot of people were thinking that way and doing it.
But everything is changing.
Yeah, for the better.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I want to talk to you about the wines and how you make them and all that. But before that, it dawned on me, again, I was on the website and I basically looked at everything and I saw on the commerce part, there's still an opportunity to buy wines. I know you don't make a lot and they're highly allocated and popular. But I noticed that there was, I think, a response to tariffs where you're asking people, if the Trump tariffs, stay indefinitely, how does that affect a small winemaker like you guys? Do you have such a following and you're so dedicated to what you make that you'll see it through? Or
I found out, crisis come from crisis in Greek.
Yes.
It means choose the good from the bad.
It's good. Crisis and crazy kind of.
So now every day we have to, everything is more expensive in Italy. I don't know here. Go to the restaurant,
recently because of all of this.
We can say after COVID time, everything is increasing slowly but continuously. I was shocking when she told me I go out in the restaurant and, what's going on?
Yeah.
And so if I choose to do an action, I will pay more attention. I don't want to go in the political side because everything is so nervous and changing that I don't know the truth.
Right. It's hard.
I see the situation, but I don't know. So I'm not as much deep to understand the truth.
Right. But from what
of the action of the singular nation, I'm really concerning everything, but I'm working with myself because the consumer have the power of everything.
Here's something else, and this is a compliment, is when people have to make decisions about what they're going to buy, how much they're going to spend, they choose what's most important to them. You buy less clothes, less wine. I think you're on the list where I'm not cutting these guys out. I won't drink, which is something you work very hard for, which is in the bottle and all.
Because also the decision through the time to not buy new soil, new vineyards, to remain small, was a decision of action, to not do action.
Right. That could be hard sometimes.
We remain, from 6, we go to 7.7, but we remain this size all around the house. Everything is around. It's a small island. We are a small
You
producer.
like the proximity. You like that it's
I like
all
to
your
feel.
own.
Yes.
That's
I
important
like to
to you. So
walk.
the idea of expanding, because God knows you could sell more wine if you had it. It's not
related.
about. It's about how you do it, not
It's
doing more of
related to
it.
the power to go around to feel. So this size is a human size for us. We
Right.
can walk through because they are so different, vineyards by vineyards, and walk around. It's the most important way to feel the situation all the time.
I love that. I mean, will you ever be put in a position where you would need to make more wine just to either cover expenses or to be where you want to be, or you can handle it in the situation you're in now?
I think that
You're fine.
if I am in this position, it's mean I lost.
Okay. I get that. One other thing. Do you see consumption changing? Like amongst your friends, do they drink less wine? Do they drink more cocktails? Are they more health oriented? I mean, do you see like a generational shift in how people look in drinking? And I say that in general because that could be beer, wine, mixology.
A little bit. I can see that younger generation, they're much more healthier.
Right, drinking less.
Drinking less, doing tons of fitness, which is good too. And my generation is a bit following the trends. So there was the trends of natural wine, but they're in wine mostly than cocktail. Then again, I'm in a segment where
You're around.
Yeah.
But you mentioned natural wine, and I think natural wine, it's funny how people shop in organic food stores and then they drink crappy wine, and then people wake up and say, wait, there's natural wine, why wouldn't I drink that? But I think people are also interested in the story. They want to know behind this bottle, it's a family, it's a small winemaker, it's women winemakers. People like, you know what, I'm drinking that over this because I can. So I think there's a benefit to the story, benefit to being natural. I've read where numbers on natural wines, the consumption is not down and not down like other wine. So people are seeking it out. All right, we have to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to get out in the vineyards with you, and I want to get in the cellar with you. And I want to know what you're doing, because if I ever open a winery, I want to do what you did. All right. So we're talking to Stella and Beatrice from Stella Di Campalto. When we come back, we're going to get into the vineyards, the winemaking, the wines, the vines, and everything. You're listening to the Grape Nation on the Heritage Radio Network. We'll be right back.
Today's program is brought to you by Korin, a supplier of Japanese chef knives and restaurant supplies. Korin is proud of their Japanese culture and traditions, but they want you to know that their products are not just for Japanese restaurants. Their knives and tableware bring out the best qualities of food from every culture and fit into every restaurant from French to Pan-Asian to American. And that is why they're located in New York City, where people from every country in the world come to eat. Korin's Tribeca showroom is home to the most extensive collection of Japanese chef knives in the world, including Japan. Stop by to view their exquisitely designed tableware and the rarest natural sharpening stones. They have a whole range of knife services, from repair and rust removal to reshaping and realigning. Korin is dedicated to this ideal, bringing the highest quality Japanese design to your table so you can experience the unparalleled quality of Japanese craftsmanship in your home or restaurant. For more information, visit Korin.com.
All right, we're back. We're back with my guests, Stella Di Campalto and Beatrice Buontempo. Got that about 90%.
Name is program.
Name it's a program.
I got that about 90% wrong. All right, so I want to discuss. We kind of discussed a little history. Now I want to get to work. I want to discuss the vineyards. I want to discuss your winemaking, because we didn't get into that, and the wines, and we'll taste everything. So early on, you decided to take this natural wine path. And I was happy to hear that it wasn't happening in the cellar and you changed how you do it in the cellar. You've embraced biodynamics for over 2 decades already. And I think you answered this question because when you tasted wines, I think you said in Rome and that wine was alive. Describe to me by farming biodynamically and beyond that, because I know you're conscious of all your surroundings. What does it do to your wines? I mean, we'll use the word alive, but how else can you describe? I mean, are you more defensive? Is it more defensive in the vineyards where, things are healthier and grow better? Tell me your take on that.
So vite in Italian means life. Vines in Italian means life, the words. So there is many plants, and Rudolf Steiner said that the vines are like human being. The only plants is related with human being was vines. And as much the roots go deep down, as much is alive the green wall, the plants. So what this agricultural choice make us see is all around these plants. It's like human being. We often do yoga and then we come back to our previous work on
Right.
conclude. With this point of view, you see all the system.
Right.
So it was the soil life. So as I told you before, it grow only cane. Now it grow 20, 25 different type of plants in the vineyards.
Everything.
The soil grow.
Grains,
if you
whatever.
Graminacee, herbacee, I don't know. If you walk there after 10 days of rain, the soil will not attack under your sole because it will be permeable and it will be like a pillow. And I am a stone soil. I'm not easygoing soil. So bring you life. How many times you drive in the street and you see plants breaking the asphalt?
Right.
Such as small seeds breaking the asphalt. So can we rethink what is agriculture? Can we receive what is life?
It's a good point. You had mentioned somewhere along the way, and I don't know if it ties in now, and tell me if I'm correcting it right. I mean, pronouncing it right, or correct me. What is genius loci?
Genius locis. It's come from Latin, and it's.
Does that relate to biodynamics?
It's a relate about a house, a place. So is every place is got its own way to influence us. And
give me an example.
Like in the past, where they built the church was not by casualty. How to put the exposition of houses was not casuality. It was a strong feeling about the place.
Right.
We should come back to this instead of follow our mind. We should come back to feel. We always think we are crazy when we feel because there are so many things logically that are different from our feeling.
So
we should relearn.
Less logical, too casual, and just doing things without thought.
With feeling, which much.
And that
study. And I mean, Rudolf Steiner say, we feel that the Greek you have to study a lot mathematics before feeling. You cannot out of the blue feel. You need to know all the linear process before feeling.
Right. That's a good point.
Sometimes when we are talking about natural things, it doesn't mean let the things go, but the other way around, to be responsible for the things.
Right.
When you talk about story, people that follow, the people I think love that someone take responsibility of what he's doing.
That's a great point. Beatrice, you know what I forgot to ask you? When did you jump in officially or get involved with the winery? When was that?
So I grew up there
Right, which we mentioned earlier.
Exactly. I was like from Milan to Montalcino, but I really don't remember Milan. So mostly Montalcino. All my friends, my closest friend are in Montalcino. I did all my school there.
Was it kind of rural? I mean, small?
Yeah, very small. I did kindergarten, high school, elementary school in Montalcino, but it was nice because we were 15 in the class and we are very close to each other. So we really grown up together, and I grown up in the vineyard and in the wine cellar. That was my playground. But I always saw that as a playground, never as a work. So then I decided to my university abroad, to study abroad. I studied something else.
How far abroad? I mean, outside of
No,
Italy?
no. I mean, yeah, in London.
Okay.
I was studying in UK, and I never...
What'd you study?
Economics and finance. So something completely different.
Can you say today that some of the stuff you studied helps with the business of the winery, or not really? A little,
because I studied international law and then economics after, a little bit.
Did you take a job in that field afterwards?
Yeah. I was working.
Did you stay in London? Or
I stayed in London for a while. I did some internship in London, and then I moved to Madrid, Miami, and then I moved to Geneva, where I worked for 7 years at MSC, the cruise and shipping company, the marketing department.
Are they a Swiss company?
They're a Swiss company, and which I love because it's a corporate, but it's also family owned. So it's they teach me a lot, and I really, really loved. So more than uni, I think that was MSC that teach me a lot, and the people that I met there, and it was amazing. And so from Montalcino.
So in your 7th year at MSC, how old were you?
It was 4 years ago.
Okay.
So I was 29,
okay.
28. And 28 I was.
So talk to me about that transition to
Montalcino.
Yeah, was that ever in the back of your mind? Was it
was
like,
always,
one day, you had good experience as a child, right?
Yeah, to me it was like, it was amazing, Montalcino. I didn't have any bad memories. It was everything fantastic. And the rest, it's more difficult. I had to study and everything. So there was something back in my mind saying, what am I doing here? Is it really the right choice? Am I really in love or I'm not? And I love the company and everything, but there was something. So I decided one day, I woke up. Actually, I went to Jura to see some producer, and I loved Jura because I think they do a lot of things completely different. Totally.
Varietals, farming, everything.
Everything.
Climate.
And I came back and I was like thinking, and I was like, this really remembers me of home and I miss it. And so I woke up one morning and I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I'm coming back. And I never came back to Italy since I left for university. So it was more than 10 years that I was abroad.
Wow.
And
You'd come for holidays and stuff.
Yeah, but like really few days and I was coming back. My life was there. I had a boyfriend, was living with him.
Right.
But I did.
So it was your decision.
Yeah.
That Jura trip really changed your thinking.
Really changed my thinking.
Stella, were you ever tugging at her? Like, why don't you come back? Or why don't you think of this? I mean,
Never.
I know you would love it, but did you make any efforts or you let it go?
No, I want them to be free.
Whatever they want.
Yeah.
So did you love
I want
that?
them to be happy also.
That's all.
But it's funny, when she told me this, I was so happy that I promised, great, I'll give you a small house and my car to go around. And then nothing was ready. So we lived together for 1 year. She had really many crises.
Yeah, many. Because, I was always alone, independent, and living alone since I'm 17. And then I ended up like at 28 living with my mom.
Did you have any regrets? Like, what did I do? Or you
many. I was crying.
Get me out of here, right?
I was crying. I was like, what I was thinking.
But she was funny. She said, I want to go to have an aperitivo. Darling, everything is closed. It's November. And she started to cry like crazy.
Yeah. It wasn't the city or anything.
No, I was crying loud. I was like, why?
We're not in Kansas anymore.
And all my friends grown up. Some of them were married with children. So it was like transition phase. And I was there alone. I broke up my engagement and everything. I was just in Montalcino. And I was like,
Wait, you didn't break the engagement to go back to Montalcino. It just had broken up.
Yeah.
A little of everything.
A little bit.
Wow,
It was like big change, man. I was like,
so wait, tell me this thing again. So you come home, you move in, and what's this? The house isn't ready, or it sounds like a bad experience. What happened?
Italians.
Yeah.
A small house I took in the town Castelnuovo dell'Abate, but was not ready, so we lived together.
We lived together because I was like, okay.
She was like a little bit pit bull in my house.
Well, you're not used to somebody. I mean,
and I wasn't used to it too.
Were you like socially shut down? I mean, were you able to have an aperitivo, or did you have friends there? Did you meet
socially
guys
shut
or whatever?
down. No, completely socially shut
That
down.
was a little bit of a shock.
I was a really great shock. And I was like, wow. And I was thinking, sometimes waking up in the night.
My mother.
Yeah, no, but waking up in the night, I was like, what did I do? Maybe remember everything was amazing and I love the one. It's like something inside me. But I was a kid. Now I'm a grown-up and adult. I need to do this and this and this and grown up a family and do a corporate job. What did I do? And
so she was funny because in the office, we were only two persons. She said, we need a chart. We need all the organization. Say, well, I mean,
business experience.
I was like, we need weekly meeting. And Mama was like, what?
They got by without it.
But she brings
so
much.
with all of that, that's kind of fun and interesting because it's behind you now. But I mean, were you guys working in the fields, the cellar? I mean, you jumped right in pretty quickly.
I was like, I'm a very impulsive person. So as soon as I got back, I was like,
got going.
I was like, Mom, I need to work a lot. And she was like, but we finish at 6. And I was like, who finished at 6? I finish at 9. I want to do a lot. And my mom was like, I think you need to be calm, which the vineyards are.
Is that your personality, or when you get into like the high-powered business world, people work whatever hours they have to, like lawyers? Do you just have this crazy work ethic, or you were also exposed to like, hey, you're not going home until this project's done?
No, actually, because MSC was really nice in that. I was more like, I need to do something. I need to have my mind filled, because otherwise I'm alone at home with my mom. So that was the thing. And no, in a nice way, I was like, what have I done? I'm back living with my mom at 29.
All right, so that's a good setup from where I want to go, because now the both of you are together.
Yeah.
You've committed yourself to your mom and the winery. So as briefly as you can, and whatever it takes, I want you to describe to me, I was saying to Beatrice before, I said, I want my listeners to close their eyes, and as you're telling them this, they kind of get a feel for where they are. So what I made a little list. I want you to describe your vineyards. Now, I've seen maps, and I think they kind of wrap around the house. They almost go in a circular. The type of soils you're dealing with. You have climate, issues, not issues, but you have your own climate. And there are surroundings, that affect that whole permaculture or whatever. Give me, and you guys go back and forth, tell me about, today. You walk out of the house and what's going on? You have your vineyards, you have multiple vineyards.
So the vineyards are all around the house, and we are completely surrounded by forests. We have around 3 times the size of the vineyards in forest. And one land that was ready to be planted, I decided to put forest. I don't want to increase the quantity. So when we open the door, there is a fantastic view. Because Montalcino, there was a mayor, a long-distance person in 2000 that say, if someone in the land of Montalcino cut a tree, go to jail.
Really?
It strictly protect the forest. And the forest, there was no economical towards the vineyards effect, but it strictly protect the forest. So you cannot build new things. So when I open the door day and night I can see the star. There is no other light in front of me. And day, you can feel the breath of the wind, the sun, the long point of view of the horizon.
So you have
the river. I like
the
river.
Orcia. We have the Orcia. Montalcino is one of the only places in the
How far
world.
is the river from?
We can walk.
You can. Does the river have any effect on
It's
the
fundamental.
climate, the air?
It's fundamental. It's
Okay.
an invisible tunnel that bring the rain away.
Sure. So you have, what do you have, 9 vineyards or?
How many vineyards we do have?
To me, it's like friends. They're terrible. Bosco, Lecco,
It's
Tondino, Quercia,
Keep going.
Bosco, San Giuseppe, Ulivo,
Sì.
Bassa, Sasso.
Yeah.
Basta,
9.
Oh wait, you have are
10.
plots within the
9,
vineyard?
9.
Yeah.
9.
And they're almost like their own little crews, like in Burgundy,
They're
right?
independent. It's incredible.
Yeah. So we'll get to that, but is the composition of the soil the same everywhere, or
Not completely different.
It changed a lot.
Which has a lot to do with each
all over
plot, and we're going to
Montalcino.
talk
It's
about
not
how
only
you
here.
don't blend but assemble. All right, so you have. So what are the primary soils there? Is it clay? Is it quartzite?
It's both of them are mountain soil origin.
Okay.
One comes from high part of Liguria, old Telluric movement, 160 million old, and the other 180 million olds come from Austrian Alps. So it's funny because we are facing south, we are low.
The origins are from everywhere.
But the origin is from mountain.
Now, I read somewhere, and this was interesting to me, and I don't know if it's important or I know it's real, but you keep saying that you have these cool soils.
Yeah.
I mean, cooler than other places? Why are they cool?
Because they come from the mountain.
Okay.
They're very hyper dry and stonish.
Okay. So
because
that
Montalcino
type of
was higher
composition,
than mountain.
And is that a benefit? And what is the benefit?
Is there the reality? Benefit is what we do with the reality.
Good point.
And so
it's like I can't change it.
Exactly.
So all right. So tell me about the realities and
So I was going around because I can say that exposition in south and the altitude make us think of dry culture situation.
Okay.
And now, as you say before, everything is changing. We can reach 42 degrees. I don't know in American Celsius, but it's very hot in summertime, extremely hot. So I never fertilize. We never give water to the plants.
No irrigation.
Never.
No fertilization.
Never.
Just the cover crops or whatever.
Exactly.
Cover crops. Different from...
And you plant through the seasons and all that on the cover crops or...
After the harvest. Immediately.
After the harvest. Okay.
Immediately.
And then...
Because my teacher is the forest. Our forests are never cut down to make wood. So no matter about the situation, she's always healthy. They help each other.
Right.
Oak makes seeds every 5 years, around 7,000 seeds, depending on the size of the oak.
What effect does
and
that
just one every 20 years can grow. For us, it's terrible, but for the system of forests, it's so strong.
That's crazy. The vines, are you doing anything non-traditional or different? Whether it's canopy or...
It was my dream when I started, but they don't allow me to put canopy at the time. So I put seeds, different type of seeds, and the vineyards choose which one are the best to let her grow.
Really?
Because I put 25, 27 seeds. Now seeds is not easy to find.
Why?
Ask to whatever. Because they put plants that not make seeds now. OGM plants. So it's not easy going to find healthy seeds. I have to buy in Switzerland.
For what
Can you imagine?
Want, it's not. Yes. I
Can you imagine? Is this natural?
No. What about exposure?
Southwest.
Now, I know a lot about wine from talking to you guys, but is that's a reality again, but what's the benefit of that reality? Is that more sun, less sun? Tell me how that affects
diversity.
More sun.
Sun gives
south,
diversity.
so they have sun.
Okay.
But sun is an impulse. We work with impulse. Can you imagine that we give only 90 grams of cow poo every 2 acre?
Wow.
This is the 500.
Right.
No? So it's an impulse. We work by impulse. Sun could be extremely hot. This is the other part of the hand.
Right.
By the impulse.
Right.
Sun is God. Sun is it's a very important thing for our
But
life.
the southern exposure gives you more sun during the day than other exposures, probably. Yeah, right. So the inputs and all that, you have to pay attention.
Absolutely, yes.
To all of that. All right, so let's jump into the cellar for a second. So you're doing out there what you need to do. Minimal, biodynamic. Now we move into the cellar.
But big work doing the
Yeah, nothing.
Now there is 3 years that they are tropical. We never used to.
Weather-wise?
Yes.
We have a lot of rains.
Oh, tropical rain, not
tropical
heat.
rain. Tropical.
Does that bring on mildew or things you didn't have
Absolutely.
to deal with in the past?
Yes.
So now you have to think
so
about how to
immediately
treat
we
that?
have for 7 hectares 10 employees, which is a lot of people. But we need to act immediately.
Right. If you're
Also, there are many days where for the rain we need to stop. We cannot enter in the vineyards and we need to wait more days. Also, this is why we need more people. We need to get in and get the things
Right.
done as fast as possible. It's like we are running with the rain, against the rain.
right, you're reacting. The other way is you just treat it. Okay, rain, mildew, spray it with some pest. That's you don't want to do that. You are minimalist in the cellar. You mentioned something earlier. 100% Sangiovese.
100% a year.
Now, some other, Brunello
100% a
makers-
year.
Well, two things. Other wineries blend a little other stuff into the Sangiovese for Brunello,
No, in Brunello, no.
It's
They're
not
all
it has to
allowed.
be 100%.
Yeah.
Brunello
Right. That's the
Rosso,
Brunello thing.
they need to be 100%.
You do 100% Sangiovese, 100% from that vintage. I guess I had my questions confused. Do people mix vintages?
It's allowed.
Right.
I don't know the
You
other
don't want to do
house.
that. You want to express the vintage as it is. True?
I don't want to have plan B. I have only plan A, plan agriculture. So we have to do our best on the vintage and keep the heart in the wine.
It's like the opposite of champagne. If it's a crappy vintage, they have all this reserve wine, they mix it in. With you take the hand that you're dealt and you do what you have to. Without getting into each one, let's look at the last 5 vintages. Were they, most of them, easier? You had mentioned they became tropical. How have your last 5 vintages been? Tougher?
Last year was very tough.
It was. Okay.
Yeah. Each of them completely different.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah.
The warm one.
2021 was a very cold winter and hot summer. So we produced only 2,700 bottles. It was like that. I have to surrender.
What is that, 180 cases? Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, because we have the cold. But this way of working give me the power to lose.
What do you mean?
To lose. My expectation of a vintage is to have the healthiest plant, the healthiest production, but sometimes it doesn't happen.
Right.
And
you're at the mercy of.
What we have, I'm very happy. It's the heart. It's the talk of the ear.
Well, you've done all the preparation where the vintage can vary, but the work in the vineyard, and like you said, you're running around frantically with everyone doing what's best, for your vines and all of that. So we're in the cellar now. You hand pick everything, right? You bring it into the cellar. You have a multi.
I hope you will come one day. Yeah?
I'm going back with you.
Oh, great.
Yes, I would love to. It's even more important to me.
Because it's so important to walk around.
But understanding all of this and what you do to, closing your eyes is one thing, seeing it is another thing. So you have a kind of a gravity-fed cellar. You try to be minimal with what you do, even how you touch the grapes. So the grapes come in, you dump them in.
No table sorting. We work on the plants. Our collaboration, go walking in the vineyards for 1 month and a half, see the plants, and
That's how you do it, not on the table in the
not
vineyard.
on the expectation
I
of
got
the
it.
perfection. Vineyards, plants can produce one grapes more ready and less, but they are complementary, like in the forest.
So, right.
So if
That
there
makes
is
total
something that
sense.
doesn't allow the air to go through, we open. Or if over dry, we take away berry by berry, but we don't work on the expectation of the perfection.
It's pretty cool. Then you crush.
Then I partially crush.
Here's what I want to ask you. You destem, right?
I do, but I use a new machine with the old system that take around 3-4% of stem.
So there's a little stem in there to give whatever character.
I don't like perfection. I was always the last one in the school, you know?
You keep saying that, and you're right. It's sort of, that's not the way it was meant to be. A destemming machine, if it's 100%, fine, that's what you want, but it never will be. And there's always going to be a little, and that imparts whatever character into the wine, and you're fine with that. Obviously, that's an example of you're fine with any similar things, which is, what makes the wines unique. All right, what happens then? So we
decide to break the barrel like 30-40%, depending on the year, the seeds, our taste.
That's the skin, the barrier.
Yeah. Depending on
you decide at what time?
No, how much we break it.
How much we press it.
Often we keep it interior. But sometimes we break it if the skin is too.
And that varies by vintage, what they look like, what you brought in, right? There's no formula here.
Right.
The formula is
observation.
All right, so keep going. You decide how much.
So how much we break the berry. Usually we keep interior, and then they fall down in the wood vats, open wood vats. And I do something very
neutral, right? Older vats.
Older. One was in my house. First fermentation was made in my house, so 2001. So, and then we do something strange. We wait till the fermentation start by herself. So there is a fight between good yeast and bad yeast. So hopefully the good yeast will win, and we listen. So when it starts to bubble, we start open fermentation. So we work with hyper aeration. So every 6 hours for 45 minutes, we break the head day and night. So the lights are always on for 1 month, 1 month and a half. So we hyper aerate it.
What does having the lights on do?
We work always you
can.
Because
you have to work. I thought
you can 3 a.m., 4 a.m. We work giving air.
Got it.
Did you walk sometime?
Yeah.
In the mountain when you taste waterfall water, how tasty is it? Because it's hyper aerated, not oxygenated.
Right.
Aerated.
So
you can do this only if the grapes have a good immune system. Otherwise, it's better to. And the winemaker skip it at the time because they say it's going to be oxidated. But if the immune system is good, you can do it.
Well, that's what you strive for, healthy grapes in the vineyard. So more often than not, if maybe ever, you're bringing in healthy grapes that will accomplish the process that you want. So they sit in these large wood barrels for how long? This is
for 1 month, 1 month and a half.
When fermentation is done?
Yeah, fermentation is usually after 10.
Right? None of these fancy tanks or temperature.
So I have an entire berry. So there is a micro fermentation that keep longer. It's more, remember me, a tea infusion, because the alcoholic fermentation of the liquid is 10 days, but the micro fermentation takes much longer. And doing this allow them to ferment it slowly and continuously. The yeast, for me, is a key point for the wine. Like for bread.
Right.
You can use beer yeast or mother yeast. They are completely different in the bread fermentation.
I didn't realize that. All right, so then what happens? I'm trying to get to how long you age and get in the bottle.
And then there is 3 levels in the cellar, so then fall down in the oak, big barrel oak. 17 hectoliters, separated by origin of the fermentation is all divided by the soil.
Let's talk about that. So we talked about the different vineyards, because I think within the vineyards there's even more plots maybe. You pick separately,
always.
You vin separately, you store separately,
yes.
right?
I need to know how they are. When I'm not allowed to mix all together when they came.
Okay, so you do that. And then are they aging in these barrels now?
Yes.
Now you age longer than most people, right? Or
no, actually I reduce.
Is that feel or you just have an idea?
It was like that. It was an idea, my own rules, and then I break my own rules. So I reduce the timing in wood now. It's 32 months around. Before it was 42.
Were you up to like 40 something?
42, 43.
42.
And why?
Because we are drinking every week, and we found out that I love simplicity, so they can be more elastic if I keep it lower time.
A longer time in the bottle.
Longer time in the bottle, much longer.
Less time in the wood, longer in the bottle.
Yes.
So you kind of switch. The overall time may be similar, but it's less wood, more bottle.
For instance, we have still the 16 in bottle.
That's crazy.
So, and it's still almost ready. We don't know.
We don't know. The 17 too.
17 is in the cellar. 18, 19.
Papillon, they have wines in their cellar from like 30 years ago that they haven't released.
That's beautiful.
It's crazy stuff.
She was a great teacher.
But it's very cool that you do that because that's a feel thing.
Because I'm a consumer. The wine go out when it's ready to go out, not because
right.
You have the age too.
So I understand you reduce the time in the wood.
But it's not consistently. I tried it.
No, I know.
Be lower.
But generally you did that and increased the time in the bottle.
Maybe now, also with the climate change and everything, and it's more time in the bottle, less time in the wood. But it's not that we are against the wood or we don't like the time in the wood. I love it. I love that we fermented in wood, and I love that we are aging in wood.
So you have these 9 vineyards that you bring in separately. So now, I know you hate to use the word blend, you assemble wines. So vintage by vintage, you look at this palette literally of 9 wines, and by tasting them, and I'm doing too much talking, but it's like this is strong enough on its own. This would blend well. Tell me that process.
Because I know them since the vineyards, fermentation, and I try them every week, and we go together. We evolve together. So we know each other.
Right.
And it's like notes. You have 7 notes. How many million songs we do have? Always 7 notes. Right. So what is important? Some vineyards are notes, some vineyards are silence between the notes. So sometimes we work only during the night, and we try to have a song.
You're writing a song.
To listen to a song. I listen. We are listening. When they say you do a good wine, it's not us. We are just trying to listen and to work with.
That's a good way to put it. As years go by, are you making single plot wines? I mean, are you making 2 or 3 every year?
It's happened in the 11. It's happened in the 16.
Like in 1 year, what's the most single plot wines you made? Like 4 or 5 or 3?
No,
16, where we made
2.
Just 2.
Okay. And 11 too.
And then on the
Sì, Beatrice Benedetta. Single vineyards.
And then on the assembly part, how many different vineyards will you blend? Do you do 2, 3, 4, or you just do a couple?
Depending on the night.
Okay. I'm starting to understand my questions. We'll get certain answers. All right, so you do...
No, really 4, 5, maybe 2. It's not strictly root.
The same vineyard stays in 2 different masses.
Explain what a mass is. MASSE.
It's the assemblage. sort of way. It's like where the masses is where we decide who goes with who. And it's not always like 3 or 4 vineyards together. Sometimes it's a part of a vineyard, then the other part will go in another one.
Right.
So
it could be anything.
It could be anything, but
so who is it? Is it the two of you making this decision? Do you have somebody else sitting with you?
We don't have winemaker actually. We do a many analysis because I want to sit on the base of elements, but we do.
How many vintages have you done
this? Since 4 years. 4 years.
But she have the same taste of me. So.
All right, and then you hand bottle. You put the wine in the bottle. You do it yourself.
We do have a machine.
A machine, but you're there.
Yes,
you don't send it out.
No.
Okay. And the label is this gorgeous, very simple, embossed label.
Yeah.
It reminds me of currency from some places. It's beautiful. And that's how it gets to the bottle. Now, one of the things you do, I notice with each vintage, is there's these crazy descriptive names like clarity and silkiness. I guess that's obvious, the description of what you feel that vintage is, and you could refer to it.
Yes.
Like, what's the 2011? What did you call it? Do you remember?
11, Beatrice Benedetta.
Is my name and the name of my sister.
It was too terrible result in the barrel, 2 vineyards.
Are we terrible?
Wrong.
That's why
Are we terrible?
Wrong. So I put their name on, and through the time, the wine became as they are.
And it's
it was incredible.
Christmas, we are like, oh, this is Patricia. Oh, no, this is Benedetta. This is you.
What did you call the 16? Do you remember?
No, this is from the vineyard's origin. Very simple.
It is?
Sasso and Vigno Curvalato Cantino.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I asked you earlier, you have no plans with all this wonderful winemaking and wines, really no plans to expand, to look for more property. You love where
it's already a big work.
Yeah.
And with this climate change, we need really to run for such a small size.
Right. All right. So Beatrice has been with you, I don't know, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I want you to grade her. What kind of job is she doing?
She do a great job because she showed me a different point of view. She showed me that I was falling in the same people working there in the same way.
It was so obvious to you? Like, why are you doing this? Why not?
And she want people more. And now we have such a lot of young people.
Yeah.
Together with our old people, but it's incredible how many young people loves to work in the vineyards.
Well, I was just going to say, I would think that people would love to, do harvest with you,
but work all year long also.
And work, I mean, listen, if you want to do this, there's not many more perfect spots than doing it with you guys. I mean, it's one with you guys.
They have this idea. Then when they came, they're a little bit, they changed their mind. Why we are here, like her.
Like me on the first time.
No. Shut up. All right. So those are the Stella Di Campalto wines. I'll ask you in a little bit where people can get more information. But I mentioned to you earlier, we do a thing called the wine list. I want to get your guys' take on kind of what you're drinking and thinking about wines. I post these on our social media. So I'm going to ask you a question. Each one answers individually. Be spontaneous. Don't be long-winded. So here's the first question. What are you drinking now? I'll go Beatrice first. What are you drinking now? What's in your fridge at home? When the seasons change, do you switch wine? When you come to New York, you say, I got to try that. Like, what are some of the things you're drinking? Or you always drink champagne?
No, it really depends on my mood.
All right, so what's the mood now?
What's the mood now? I'm in New York. I want to do so many things. And I'm excited to be here and excited, but also, I don't know. So I would drink a Chenin of Leroy.
Okay. I love that.
Give
me another one.
And then, oh gosh, maybe, something that calms me down, give me tranquility. And
Is that a red or a white?
it's a red, definitely a red. That keeps my head like calm.
Okay.
I will go for Rumier.
Okay, that's can't go wrong with that.
For
All right,
you,
Stella.
for you.
Yeah.
Rumier, you got a fancy kid. What about you?
So I have to tell you that I drink thanks to our importer yesterday, Castello in Villa. It was very interesting. And Ted Lemon, literally.
Ted Lemon?
Literally?
Unbelievable. I mean, he's like a guru.
Yeah,
Now
fantastic.
go back. Castellin de...
Castello in Villa.
So I didn't know about that until a few years ago. And friends turned me on to it. And older bottles drink like yesterday.
Talking about woman, she's a great woman.
I mean, I stumbled on, one of the most interesting wines. So that, you like that.
I drink it yesterday.
Okay.
I'm very curious to drink the wine in Convivio.
Now, what caught your attention with Ted Lemon and Literai? I mean, what?
Ted Lemon, it was presented me by the importers many years ago.
And you fell in love with it?
I fell in love. I was shocked by it.
Do you have bottles of that stuff at home in Italy? Or
I have something,
you do?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Good job, guys, so far. All right. Second question. This is kind of the goofiest one, but it's fun. The question is, what is your favorite wine and food pairing? Not what we think is the perfect pairing, like Burgundy and roast chicken. What do you like? And it's obviously something you don't eat all the time. But what's
who cook the food? It's also an important question. I love fish and red gentle wine.
Specific. What kind of red gentle wine?
I love Solera.
Okay. That's
old
good.
One, yeah.
What? Like what?
Like 2002 Reserva.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's
What
something.
kind of
It's
fish?
a dream. It's a dream. What kind of fish?
White.
Fish from the sea of Mediterranean.
Okay. Which
And I love vegetable. I have to tell you.
Yeah, but vegetables are tough to pair with wine. We'll leave it at fish and that. What about you?
It's a tough question. I like Asiatic food.
Okay.
I like Asia a lot.
Like international foods?
Yeah, like Japanese. I love Chinese, actually.
Okay.
Chinese, also Korean. I really like
Chinese spicy?
Yeah, which is hard to pair.
So you pick 2-3 of your favorite Chinese dishes spicy. What are you going to pair with that? What's a good wine and pairing?
I'm thinking.
You love Jura?
I love Jura, yeah. But now, maybe with some old Geneva, very old.
That's a good one. All right, I like that. A lot of people say Riesling, Gewürztraminer, but with Chinese because it seems to. All right, those are good ones. All right. You guys should be able to handle this. I asked my guests their favorite wine restaurant and or bar. And I'm not asking you to rank the top ones or pick your favorites. Like I have a friend, I don't know if you know her, Pascaline Lepeltier.
Yes.
So she is the greatest wine person I know. She has the greatest wine list. The vibe in that restaurant is incredible. The food is terrific. So when I ask the question, what's your favorite wine restaurant or bar? I go, if everyone could do what Chambers does. Who does it similar to that? Not exactly. What are places, whether it's in your neighborhood at home, in your travels, in New York, what are a couple things that come to mind, that are great restaurants or bars, great wine service, great knowledge? Does anything come to mind?
I have been.
Like, is there a place around Brunello? I mean, around Montalcino?
I love Silene.
Spell it.
Silene, I don't know, it's in the Amiata Mountains, and he have 2 hectares of gardens.
Okay.
I like him.
All right. That's a restaurant?
It's a restaurant.
What's it called again?
Silene.
Silene.
So he grows his own stuff and he makes it.
He's in the middle of nowhere
in
Pescia.
Wine list?
Wine list, it's...
he has a small, tight...
Yes, it's very good wine list.
All right, I'm going to take that with you. I want 2 answers. You travel. Like, can you think of something in New York that lights you up? And is there anything back home that's a solid?
Well, in New York, it's difficult because it's full. Like, I cannot get my mind. I cannot.
So there's enough.
There is enough.
Right.
In New
Okay.
York,
You
there
don't
is
have to.
really,
What about back home?
Wine list. Speaking about the wine list, there is this new place called Vineria. It's literally down my house, and I love because they have more than 2,000 labels. I can really choose.
So it's a new place.
It's a new place.
It's crazy
It's
that
full of
it
young
just
people
pops
now.
up, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and
It's like welcomed, right? It's like this is great
Exactly.
to have in the neighborhood.
and you can find anything.
Does he have any food? Light
It
snack?
has food, but it's the wine list is really crazy. It's amazing. You can find
Do
everything.
you look at something
from-
like that as discovery? Like, here's a guy carrying stuff that I don't always see or can buy, but I could try it and taste it here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good opportunity.
It's a good opportunity. There I can really taste everything. But I like the fact that Vineria doesn't have a way, as many different producers, completely different one from each other. I mean, you go from Auvergnat to Cache-Dury,
Right.
which are the most
Val d'Aosta.
opposite
Right.
thing.
He's playing a wide open field. He's not-
Exactly. And it's for
I like
really
that.
for
It's
everyone.
eclectic, and
It's
that's-
eclectic.
Yeah.
I have Castel in Villa, which I love it too. And then you have something completely different. Hudelot Nolé, which I love from Borgogna. You have many different. It's
nice
what
to
I
have
like.
that.
So I can always like learn something or try something new. And they also allowed you to bring wine. So sometimes
Oh, nice.
some friend of mine come from around and they're like,
And
oh,
you'll-
yeah, look at this bottle. Let's try together.
Very young place.
You'll taste their wines. All right, here's the fourth question. The fourth question, what is your favorite all-time wine? Now, listen to me for a second. I originally put this question together to find out what was the most expensive rare wine you ever had? What was the most expensive rare wine you ever had? Don't answer it. It would have been a Roumier or something. I don't care about that. Here's what in your lifetime in wine, what is the wine that had the biggest effect on you, that influence, that when you tasted it, you said, this is why I love wine. What's an important wine to you? Doesn't have to be expensive or rare.
Yeah, it was a present from my friends. We share Rijaillot. Rijaillot.
What is that? I don't even understand what she said.
Rijaillot is a French that go away during Second World War by foot. He was 10 years old from Germany to Bourgogne, and he do his own vineyards. And what kept me completely bonded to her is the simplicity of his wine. It was extremely simple. It's easy to drink and full of. I mean, my skin is still working.
I can see why.
It's something was incredible.
Now, this is what's. I'm
sorry for I don't talk
Help me
French.
with the name.
Rijaillot.
Spell. Let's spell out loud.
Hanry and then Jaye.
Oh.
Yeah.
Henri Jayer.
Sorry for my
no. It's
pronunciation.
yeah,
I don't talk French.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean,
It was
maybe all-time legendary wine, certainly Burgundy, influenced a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's an expensive, hard to get wine now because he doesn't, he died and all that. But the story of who he was, what he did, and the influence, that's really the heart.
But I can feel in the wine.
Yeah.
I cannot stop drinking. I'm not a huge drinker, but this wine really make me feel as a child.
Boy, I have trouble with an Italian accent trying to name French stuff. What about you? There has to be a wine. I don't know when it happened. Probably in the last.
So it happened recently, actually, in January. I was with a friend of mine, and she's actually helped me a lot in tasting a lot of wines, amazing wines that I've never tasted before. And she's teaching me a lot. And her name is Kim. And I was with Kim, and she opened this bottle from 71, and from a very famous producer that it's very discussed. And I opened up. I didn't know what was inside. She always say to me, "Bea, you need to try blind." So I tried blind. It was 71, and it was so alive, so powerful, sweet at the end that I just wanted more.
What was it?
It was a very particular wine.
Okay.
But very nice.
All right. Interesting answer. All right. As I mentioned, I'm going to post answers because after people sit down and hear you guys talk about the winery, they're always curious about what you're drinking and thinking. Here's the last question. The question I'm going to read as it exists, but I'm going to change it for you. Recommend to me the best wine around $15, $20, $25 American. Okay? That's the question. Here's what I want to ask you. What do you think are the best values in wine? Like, I could tip you off with some answers. I think Muscadet from France, from good producers, is great for the money. I think Chianti Classico, for the money, drinks as good as anything. What wines give you great quality to value where you don't have to spend that much anywhere in the world? Yes.
Castello in Villa is one of
Castello in
them.
Villa.
Castello in Villa, Chianti.
Okay, that's one. Chianti, I think.
And then il
When you
Guercio, Chianti.
When you think Spain, were you thinking of a particular region?
Yeah, I was thinking about Commandoguet and really good.
Where are
Simple.
those guys, Daniel Landi?
Near Madrid.
Yeah.
Very good.
They make incredibly they make incredible wines at not that expensive. I mean, you could spend on some of them, but generally on the lower end. I mean, I just got a case of wines. I think I paid 25, 28 bottles a bottle from them. It's like, that was great. All right, so Spain, Landi, Commando G,
Castello in Villa, il Guercio, I don't know.
Can you think of anywhere else?
Jura, that you have great
I was
wines.
thinking either you mentioned Loire earlier, and Jura. I think Jura even.
I mean, Richard Leroy for me, it's really good wine.
All right, those are good ones. All right, you guys did a good job on that.
Thank you. I had to be so deep in the question. And
Jair, I couldn't get it.
Right, sorry, my brother.
No, I don't want to make you feel guilty for a second. All right, we end the show with a segment called the Weekly Wine Sip. This is when we taste your wine and we talk about it. All right. So you were kind enough to bring me a bottle of
because with this
Brunello. Now, all right. So now I want you to get into very specifics. Tell me exactly what we're drinking. Vintage year, the vineyard. Then we're going to taste it and discuss it.
So we are drinking a 2018, as you know.
What kind of vintage year was 18?
Was rainy.
Rainy.
And but to me, it's very simple vintage. And I mean, it was a difficult vintage, but simple in the wine. And I like simplicity. It's something the 2018 is actually one of my favorite vintage between producer and Montalcino,
really?
Even if it's not that famous.
So, as you know, from 16 on, we do small song of the same vintage.
Right.
This is one of these songs is the forest. So I took words when I was walking. This is Bosco means forest.
Now, is this vintage physically like next to the forest, or everything is near the forest?
Everything is near.
Okay.
So just an inspiration when I was walking. Okay. So one is called Cielo, sky. One is Bosco, and the other is Aria, air. So when I was walking, I feel this very important.
So this is a single vintage. Right. This is the Bosco vintage. 2018 rainy, but you like the vintage. Let's talk about it. So when you look at the color, one of the things about your wines is a lot of Brunellos are deeper, darker, right? A little more than this. So this has a beautiful
old way, no? Old way.
Old style.
For me, it's an old sage wine. It's like that.
I think the color is terrific. All right, let's go to the nose. I suck at nose descriptors. So Stella, what do you get on the nose? Is it indicative of this vineyard and vintage, or you get similar things throughout?
It's different.
It is
different.
It's the Bosco more.
All right, so what are we getting? There's a savoriness to me on this. Am I right on that? The fruits are there.
It's a dark fruit. It's something that's growing in the forest. And there is many layers. It's changing all the time.
Mouthfeel. At first, I thought it was kind of a medium mouthfeel, but as it sits in the mouth, it's not thick or anything, but it's really mouth coating. It's really nice. And then you could really, you feel it everywhere in your mouth.
All right.
It coats your tongue, which is a good thing. And then on the palate, on the taste, are there any similarities to the nose? What do you get on the palate?
What is particular about San Giuseppe Land? That always you can feel a little bit of sweet, which is not done by presence of sugar, of course, but the glycerin make the wine more.
That's what it is. The glycerin is perfect.
Yeah.
It's not thin. It's not.
And by analysis, they are very surprised because instead of the sugar transforming itself all in alcohol, the percentage of glycerin is very high for normality.
Can you control that?
No, this is biodynamics.
It just happens.
It just happens
the way it does.
Right. Or the land.
Right.
Who knows?
What I'm curious to hear this. What would be for this particular wine that we're tasting? What would be a good pairing for food?
For me, but uncontroversial. I sometimes I like the wine with a very, very simple stuff. So to me, you can have a fancy dinner with fish and it can go, or I can have a pizza. As simple as that.
For me, cheese.
Yeah,
good
not
friend.
A meal, just
cheese.
Bring out some good cheese.
Cheese and one book.
And leave you alone, right?
No, it's just my feeling on this wine.
Yeah, no, I think this is a pretty versatile wine. So that's the 2018 Brunello di Montalcino from Stella Di Campalto. It is the Bosco, B-O-S-C-O vineyard. And I didn't mention this much, but Poderi Giuseppe is the...
Toponymy is our house is the toponymy from
day one. It was always Poderi, right?
From the 920.
Wow. All right, we got to wrap it up because I got to get you guys out of here. I will see you tomorrow. I'm coming
wonderful. But come, really, come. You have to
I'm coming and I want to taste the rest of your wines.
You have to feed your podcast.
There's incredible people there. I hope you guys get to split up and taste everyone's wines.
I will.
Too.
We are too.
So we will. To.
I'm very curious.
If you need me to stand behind the table, I'll pour some wine.
Thank you.
I want you guys.
Tomorrow we will bring 2 vineyards, one next to the other, 5 meters far away. Please come to try them.
And
how deeply they are different.
Distinct. That
because we are talking,
for wine,
but you have
that's
to
the
feel
most
it.
fun thing.
You have to drink it.
Yeah. All right. So let me do a wrap up and I want to get some info. So if you have a question, suggestion, wine happening in our event, hit me up at sam@thegrapenation.com. That's sam@thegrapenation.com. You can listen to the Grape Nation podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your pods. If you like the podcast, subscribe to the Grape Nation. And if you really like it, leave a good review. Follow us on Instagram at @SBenRuby, on X @BenRuby. You can always use the hashtag The Grape Nation to find us on both. We are on Facebook at The Grape Nation. As I mentioned, I will post Stella and B's wine list answers, which we just did, and I will post specifically the wine we just tasted on our social media sites. All right. So Stella and B, where can we find more information about your wines? Is it about the website?
Yes,
in the website, and then you can send an email, and we will.
Which is on the website. Right?
Yeah.
Contact.
Yes, and come to visit us.
And you don't make a lot of wine, so it's not the easiest, but there's available. There are a lot of dedicated restaurant people that make sure they have it. Like Annie at King, make sure, people like that. It's available. So it's out there. So the website is what? Stella Di Campalto?
Yes, .it.
.it.
Italy.
And let's talk about social media. Are you active on social media? Are you active on social media? Is the winery active on social media? Where and what are the handles?
We don't have a social media for the winery. It's both our
Okay,
personal
so
media.
where do we find you, Bea?
We both have Instagram accounts.
Okay, what's your?
Mine is Bea Buontempo, but it's personal. So
Okay.
I post art and then friends and then wine sometimes. So it's personal.
But it's not private.
No, it's not
Yeah,
private.
so if people want to look, they could look.
Of course.
What about you? You do
I
this?
have Stella Di Campalto,
and
I post just what I feel. So very rarely, I love nature. So whatever going on around the vineyards.
Is part of that because you're too busy or you just don't give a crap about posting? Which one is it?
We never thought about having an official account. It's
like
just
some people use it as a sheer marketing tool and post
No,
nine
for me
times.
it's more like
Like it's an
my
outlet
page-
for whenever and whatever you want to talk about
It's
it.
always been the same. It's like
All right. That's where people can go. All right. I want to thank you guys immensely for agreeing to do this and for spending. I'm not going to tell you how long you've been sitting here because you'll run out of here.
It was a beautiful talk together.
I want to thank our guests, Beatrice and Stella Di Campalto. Beatrice Buontempo and Stella Di Campalto. I really thank you for taking time. You guys are really doing terrific things, and I think the story is wonderful, and that's why I wanted to sit with you. And I'm anxious to taste the other wines tomorrow. I want to thank our engineer, Armin, and everyone at the Heritage Radio Network. I'm Sam Ben-Ruby, and you've been listening to The Grape Nation.
Thank you.
The Grape Nation is powered by Simplecast. Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network. Food radio supported by you. Keep in touch at heritageradionetwork.org/subscribe.
I'm Katie Osuna, and I'm the host of Copper and Heat Radio, a 2-time James Beard Award-winning podcast about the forces that shape our meals. I started this podcast back in 2019 when I was working in Michelin-starred restaurants and noticing all of these social interactions around me. I had a lot of questions about the culture of restaurants and the systems we operated in.
I think the restaurant world's in for a reckoning.
Restaurants are slow to change because everything's made on the smallest margins.
Value is completely arbitrary, right?
What began as a podcast to process my way through working in kitchens as a woman has grown.
If the conversation is a crackdown on the border, then do you want a $30 burger? Because that's one of the consequences of this.
There's just a certain financial reality to making certain businesses exist. And there's a reason that delivery didn't exist in a lot of markets for a lot of years. And it's because it's incredibly low margin.
How a cuisine climbs in prestige and value. This happened to Japanese cuisine, this happened to Italian cuisine right in front of our eyes.
Listen wherever you get your podcasts. And now on Heritage Radio Network.